Right now, it's Matthew Barton, District Attorney for the 23rd Judicial District of Mississippi. Matthew, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, so we wanted to have you on to talk about the M.I.C.E. Act, M-I-C-E. I'm not exactly sure what the acronym stands for. You might want to explain that to us. But tell us about this legislation, how you got involved, and what it would mean for Mississippi. Now, it hasn't passed. It's dead, right? But this isn't going away.
Yeah, so M.I.C.E. stands for Mississippi Immigration Custom Enforcement. It's basically a Mississippi version of ICE, is where the acronym comes from. And I guess my involvement really stems from earlier in the year. I know that I think would assist in my work that we do. And a bill was mentioned or dropped in the House. It started a conversation, and I think that the Act is the natural progression of that conversation. We had.
I think we're going to have to do it. I think we're going to have to call him. So, Matthew, we're having problems with the connection. We're going to call you, get you on. While we're doing that, I wanted to pass on this little bit of fodder to you. It looks like Steak and Shake. They're changing how they're going to make their French fries. They say they've RFK'd their fries. They're opting for healthier cooking method. Say that rather than using vegetable oil, they're going to be using beef tallow. I'm not exactly sure what that is. They broke this news on X. Said by March 1, all, in all caps, locations, fries will be RFK'd. Wow. Some of the other fast food restaurants appear to be following suit with respect to how they make up their French fries. How about that? We found a supplier, says Steak and Shake, that could finally do what we wanted and said, we got to do it. We got to do it everywhere. And so we did. That's what the CEO of Steak and Shake chain said. That's interesting. He's the chief operations officer, actually, Daniel Edwards, talking about this. So I think Rhino's working on getting Matthew Barton back on the line with us to talk about this M.I.C.E. Act. That's interesting news. Also, Robert Wright, he wastes no time, of course, bashing the president and Doge and everything else. He wrote an absolute book. We good, Rhino? All right, we got Matthew back. All right, Matthew, keep going. Tell us about this act, how you got involved.
Yeah, so, I was speaking with legislators early in the year about the needs of my office and the fact that we're having a surge of illegal immigrants coming through our local jail. It's almost one every day. And so we're trying to be involved and try to help at a state and local level, because that's what Tom Holman and Kristi Noem have mentioned a necessity for. And so we had a bill that was dropped in the House. It died in committee, but I believe that bill sparked a conversation that led to the eventual Senate bill, which was dubbed the M.I.C.E. Act. And so the whole idea was just to create a mechanism for Mississippi to be involved in helping ICE with the Trump agenda and their priorities for deporting criminal illegal aliens.
Interesting. And so a great deal of the goal here, is it not, Matthew, is to get local law enforcement to work cooperatively with the state and federal authorities on combating this immigration problem.
That is 100% the goal.
Okay. And why do you think we couldn't get this thing passed? What were the objections in the Mississippi legislature?
I'm not sure what the objections were. I don't want to name drop on here because I don't know how people feel about me bringing them into it, but I had several talks. I went down to Jackson a couple of times, and I did not receive criticism. Mike McClendon sponsored the bill or wrote the bill, and he was receiving good feedback from a lot of people. We have a supermajority Republicans in Mississippi, and a lot of these people ran on, supporting Trump. They used his name and rhetoric to get elected. And if you think of the lieutenant governor race with Delbert Hosemann and Chris McDaniel, at one point they were both kind of arguing over who was Trump's chosen one, so to speak, who had his blessing. And people ran on that, and then when it comes time to support them, they really missed an opportunity here.
Interesting. So I didn't track the bill. Did it make it out of committee?
It did not.
Didn't make it out of committee. And which committee was that?
It was an appropriations bill, so I guess it went to the Appropriations Committee.
I got you. Senator McClendon, of course, from your county, right, DeSoto County.
That's right.
Yeah. And it looks like he has been subject to some redistricting. Looks like his district's changed quite a bit, and I think he's maybe thinking of some other options there.
Yeah, I know he's been working hard on, his priorities, but he's been doing a lot of self-defense too. He's been taking on water from all sides with this new map.
Yeah. So have you talked to other district attorneys? How do they feel about this legislation and just this overall plan?
I did not really coordinate with other prosecutors on this. I just looked at our internal data and the cases that we have, and I spoke to our local legislators to begin with and let them run with it. So I didn't really do a lot of lobbying with other prosecutors, so to speak. But I have spoken with other prosecutors about immigration issue in general, not necessarily as it relates to legislation. And I can say that my county is not the only county that has an issue with criminal illegal aliens on our court dockets.
Interesting. Well, what about arrests, Matthew? Have you made any of your office of illegal immigrants, and what can you share on that?
Yeah, so we have, in the last 4 years, we've had over 1,000 people come through the DeSoto County Jail that were illegal aliens, which is more than twice the 4 years prior to that. Last year, we prosecuted a guy, last name Perez Lopez, who was drunk behind the wheel and killed a lady. So we prosecuted her. I have a case right now, Mr. Escamilla, who is charged with raping and molesting a 12-year-old girl. We had a high-profile arrest in DeSoto County of a guy that's charged with federal drug trafficking. We had one that was a home invasion with the intent to commit a sex act. So we've had the gamut of everything from fentanyl dealers, DUIs, all the way up to your more violent stuff. And it's coming up regularly.
Interesting. Have you seen a decrease since President Trump has taken office? Certainly the reports are that the crossings at the border are down rather dramatically. Yeah,
so we've had a steady flow in the jail. My office has worked with ICE to get some deportations done. We've had several deportations done, but as far as the ongoing arrest, I would say some of the felony stuff is a little bit down, but the traffic stuff where people don't have driver's license and insurance, which is particularly scary if you get in a wreck with somebody, and DUIs, that's been pretty steady, and a lot of those are people that came through under the Biden-Harris administration.
I see. Well, like I said, even though this thing didn't make it out of committee this year, is this something you're going to continue to promote and advocate for? You believe it's something we need?
As long as I keep seeing this problem in my office, I will continue to advocate for public safety. So at every chance I get, I will advocate for enforcing the law. I believe that Mississippi prioritizes and values the enforcement of our laws, and so I will advocate that we do that.
I see. Are there some situations in other states that you could point to that have been implemented, such as this?
So Florida's done a lot. They are actually getting their highway patrolmen and their officers involved in what's called the 287G program, which we were trying to get that accomplished with M.I.C.E. Oklahoma's working on trying to clear out their jail docket of illegal immigrants that are on their books. Most of the states in the Southeast have passed some form of legislation within last year or this year in varying degrees.
Yeah.
But Mississippi has not at all.
I got you. All right, Matthew Barton, District Attorney for the 23rd Judicial District of Mississippi. Appreciate you coming on there, Mr. Attorney. Enjoyed the conversation.
Hey, thank you.
You bet. We're coming right back in the Element Wealth studio.